Pact is not all about hard news. In a region where women are more often seen than heard, Pact makes a point of covering women's issues as well as music and culture. The tribal areas are famous for their traditional songs called tapas, often sung by women to give voice to their passions and hardships.
Tapas, these couplets, they're the main way in which women express themselves in this society. And actually it's very much part of what we've been trying to do, is bringing music into the journalistic mainstream. Samina, she's actually the head of our tapa group, so she's the ideal person to do this and to get Wagman to sing the right tapas. You're also going to be interviewing Salma Shaheen, who is the greatest living authority on tapas.
She has done some research work in tapas, especially in collecting tapas, as she said that she has collected 3 volumes. So that's why we are going to interview her.
How are tapas performed traditionally?
Women sing at their homes and also outside their homes when they are in the gathering, in weddings. They are very spontaneous.
Today in the West, in modern times, how urban music, began. In voiceless sort of communities, if you like, rap and urban music.
Well, actually, structurally and musically, the tapa is very, very similar to the American blues.
Women often express their thoughts, their feelings through tapas. Have you found that the tapas are similar or that they differ in some way?
The women sing about their village life, of their problems, of their hardship and of love. Through the tapas they portray the very meaning of their life. In just 2 verses and 9 syllables, they tell the whole story of their life. There is nothing like this in any other literature in the world. This art is created by women out of their suppression, and I think it's something that only women can do.
You listen to tapas? How it was?
It was wonderful. I wish I understood exactly what she was saying, because it felt, very, very emotional, very deep, what she was saying. So I wish I could understand, Pashtun,
to understand the natural language.
Yeah. But the other thing is, she was improvising so well that it almost didn't seem that she was improvising. It was almost as though she was reciting something she had prepared before, but she wasn't. It was all just doing it there and then.
Yeah. That's what she is famous for, because she sings tapas in a very natural way, right from the heart.
Right from the heart, yeah. Back on the streets of Peshawar, one of John's reporters is getting reactions to the Jirga story. Well, this is a Pact in action here in this very crowded afternoon market just outside of Peshawar. And one of the reporters, Gul, is just going out after afternoon prayers just outside the mosque, the main mosque in the market, and just what we call vox popping people, which is just going out, allowing people to gather around and just asking them questions and asking them to speak about the issues and how they feel. And as you can see, people are very interested to talk.
What do you think? Should there be security first on the Afghan side of the border or in the unstable tribal areas?
There's no terrorism in the tribal areas or in Afghanistan. It's just propaganda and creating trouble for locals. It's just creating problems.
Was the Kabul Jirga successful?
Yes, why not? It is successful. Before, when people were moving across the border, they were unhappy. And now, after the Jirga, they're happy on both sides.
But the daily news reports tell a very different story.
At least 18 people have been killed in a suicide bomb attack in the country's northwestern province. The bomber boarded a truck carrying passengers travelling to a village near the city of Der Ismail Khan. Our correspondent
Well, there's bad news because I was John's colleague in Der Ismail Khan, which is a town, a village in the Waziristan that we were supposed to be going to in the tribal areas to spend time with and talk with a local Taliban commander who'd invited us. But apparently there's been a suicide bomb attack by a boy as young as 14 years old. There's a lot of people dead. And the Taliban commander said, look, it's just very, very tense. And John's colleague confirms it. And it's not safe to come. So it's tragic, but it's also just very, very frustrating because it would have been really good to have gone there and spent time with the Taliban commander. But it's not to be. John told me not to despair. Instead, he's arranged for me to meet Malik Marjan, who boycotted the Jirga in Kabul. He's a tribal leader from North Waziristan, an area with a Taliban presence. He says there'll be no peace until the Taliban and the Afghan warlord Gulbuddin Hekmatyar, exiled in Iran, are brought to the negotiating table, because fighting them has failed.
The Afghan government must, with an honest heart, regard the Taliban as a friend. Until then, there will be no peace. The way America is thinking is no hidden secret, and everyone can see that. Look at what is happening in Iraq. Their policy is not working there, and they have got it wrong, and the war continues there.
But the reality is, across the whole tribal area, the situation is one of conflict and open war. What's the situation like where you're the tribal leader in North Waziristan?
In my area, our children are dying, and so is the Pakistan army. The soldiers too are children of this country. We are both fighting each other, and this is not good. We have reached this point because of lack of consultation. And I feel that today the religious parties should be consulted, and by consulting them, a solution can be achieved. And unless the Taliban and Hekmatyar are regarded as friends, fighting in Afghanistan will continue.
In the eyes of the Americans, the British, even the Pakistani government, you can't divide, you can't separate the Taliban from Al-Qaeda. That you cannot invite a movement to a dialogue which, you know, has people who are also close to and believe in what Al-Qaeda is the message that Al-Qaeda and the actions of Al-Qaeda is preaching.
As far as Al-Qaeda is concerned, I don't think they have influence in the tribal areas. We do not know who is Al-Qaeda and who is Taliban. What we do know is that they are migrants. Why don't we hand them back to the Afghan government? I think the UN should make arrangements for this and bringing about peace in Afghanistan so that these people can go back home. Unless these people are sent back, we in the tribal areas will not know who is Taliban and who is Al-Qaeda.
Pakistan also wants to see the Afghans return home because they fear that some of the refugee camps are sheltering the Taliban. Some of the empty camps have been bulldozed, and refugees are being forced to return to Afghanistan under a UN-sponsored repatriation program.